2 million years ago. The cliffside ambush against a towering Megatherium. The wind lashes against the cliffside. Snow swirls in jagged spirals, carried by gales that cut like knives. Below, the earth trembles. A shadow moves, massive, lumbering, unstoppable. A beast taller than 3 men, its claws long as daggers, its bulk as heavy as stone. The Megatherium, the giant ground sloth. A creature not of gentleness, but of terrifying force. And above, pressed flat against the rocks, hunters wait. Spears in hand, hearts pounding. One mistake, one slip, and the cliff will claim them all. The ambush begins. 2 million years ago, Earth was locked in the Ice Age's grip. Glaciers carved valleys into scars of stone. Frozen rivers stretched like veins across the land. Herds of mammoth and bison roamed the plains, their tracks carved deep into frost. But survival was never guaranteed. The cold devoured the weak. And predators, both beast and hunger, stalked at every step. On the cliffside where rock meets sky, danger was multiplied. One slip meant death. But one victory meant survival for an entire tribe. Homo erectus, short, sturdy, cloaked in hides stitched with sinew. In their hands, long spears tipped with sharpened flint. Some carried stone hammers, others carried ropes twisted from tendons. Their bodies bore scars from hunts past. Their eyes burned with hunger. Days without meat had hollowed their faces. Tonight, they gambled everything. For below them, a Megatherium wandered close to the cliff, stripping bark from frozen trees. Its size promised weeks of food, fat, bone, and hide. Enough to keep the tribe alive through storm and famine. But to bring it down, they would need cunning and the cliff itself. The Megatherium was no gentle giant. Standing over 6 meters when it reared back, its weight crushed the earth beneath its steps. Its claws, curved, hooked, and longer than a man's forearm, could tear open the trunk of a tree or the chest of a hunter. Its hide was thick, its muscles dense, its roar a quake in the bones. It feared little, and yet it was vulnerable. Not to single combat, but to strategy, to the minds of men willing to risk everything. The hunters had chosen this ground. The cliffside narrowed to a path barely wide enough for the beast to pass. Below, jagged rocks waited like teeth. Stones were loosened, stacked high above. Ropes were tied to boulders, ready to yank them free. Spears were sharpened, points hardened in fire. The tribe crouched in silence. Snowflakes clung to lashes, to fur, to stone. They listened to the slow thunder of footsteps as the Megatherium drew closer. This was not just a hunt. This was survival bound to the edge of death. The giant appeared, pushing through the trees, shoulders towering, breath steaming like smoke. It lumbered onto the narrow path. The leader gave the signal. A cry pierced the storm. Boulders rolled. Stones cascaded from the heights, crashing onto the beast's back. Snow exploded in clouds. The Megatherium reared, bellowing a roar that shook the cliffside. Hunters surged forward, spears arced down, stabbing deep into its flank. The beast thrashed, claws swiping, tearing into stone, ripping a hunter from the ledge and hurling him into the abyss below. The cliff became a storm of death. Hunters screamed, their spears jabbing again and again. Flint shattered, shafts splintered. The Megatherium rose high on its hind legs, towering above them. With a swing of its claws, it struck the cliff wall, showering the hunters in shards of stone. One man's chest split open, blood spraying across the snow. Still they pressed. Ropes tightened around its legs, spears sank deeper into muscle. It staggered, blood pouring dark and steaming. Yet with every wound, its fury grew. The cliff trembled under its weight. The leader, face streaked with snow and blood, hurled his last spear. The flint point sank deep into the beast's throat. The Megatherium roared, staggered, and collapsed sideways, its mass crashing against the cliff wall. Hunters leapt aside as the ground quaked. For a breathless moment, It clung to the ledge, claws digging into rock. Its eyes blazed, defiant even in death. Then, with a final lurch, it fell, its colossal body tumbling into the ravine below. The earth shook. Silence returned. The hunters gathered at the edge, staring into the abyss where their prey lay broken among the rocks. Their breaths came ragged, their bodies bruised and bloodied. They had lost brothers. Blood stained the snow, but below them lay salvation, meat, hide, bone, enough to carry the tribe through the storms to come. They began the long climb down. Knives chipped from flint sliced into thick hide. Fires were lit against the wind, smoke curling into the pale sky. Children's cries mingled with the crackle of flames. Hunger would not claim them tonight. On the cliffside of the Ice Age, survival was never granted. Every victory was carved in blood, etched into stone. What defined humanity was not the spear, nor the kill. It was the will to plan, to unite, to dare the impossible. 2 million years ago, on nights like this, the human spirit rose. Fragile, yet unyielding. Courage stood against terror. Endurance stood against despair. Unity stood against extinction. And from that spirit, born on the cliffside, in the roar of the Megatherium, we became human.